again, I'll always struggle, I think, with knowing that like I belong there. But hey, man, if this world's gonna give you something, like take it, right?
Don't you eat any of that chocolate over there.
Scene one. I could feel the vibration. Is that too blue steel? Danielle Browne, what is up?
It's a foggy day here in St. John's, Newfoundland. I'm freezing my ass off, but you know that.
It's the same here. It's cold and wet, and it's calling or threatening for snow a little later. So, I mean, we're not that far off.
Happy spring.
Right? It's the Atlantic. What are you going to do?
That's right.
Now, from my memory of meeting you in high school, and then you did mechanic for a while, and then you switched to plumbing, and now you're building a pretty steady platform as an influencer.
Yeah.
So I basically want to, I want to talk about that journey with you.
All right, sweet.
I'm super pumped to talk to you. We've been friends for a while.
Not age ourselves.
Yeah. More than 20 years because I graduated for 20 years.
It's been 2 decades.
You know what's funny? You're one of those people who I know you weren't always there because you came to our school later, but I can't remember a time without you.
That is the most romantic thing you've ever said to me.
It probably isn't. I've said a lot of really nice things to you, but I mean, it's true.
It's true. It's romantic, though. Yeah.
That's true. So I'm doing this project called Life Simulated, where I'm talking to people who have kind of gone down paths in their life that they didn't really expect to go down and have found themselves in a really awesome place nonetheless. So I know you have gone through some careers yourself. So after high school, you were a mechanic. Is that what you wanted to do through high school? Did you know you were going to go to that route?
I had no idea what I was going to do after high school. I wasn't academic. And I mean, this was, again, 2 decades ago, right? I mean, you remember me. I was a skinny kid with a mushroom cut who just stuck out like a sore thumb. And I didn't really fit in anywhere. I didn't know what I was going to do. Back then, if you weren't academic, it was like nothing was set out for you, right? So I applied to a local garage, and this guy, I guess I thought I was going to just stock shelves for him. And he was like, I don't want you stocking shelves. I want you working on the cars. And that was the start of me in the trades. I had always loved tools, but I was never really given the opportunity. Plus, I had never seen a female tradesperson at that stage. So I didn't know that was even a thing. And that's what started it.
That is even more interesting than I already thought your story was. So you didn't go into post-secondary to do mechanic. You just went to a shop looking for a job to like in the shop, and they're like, we're going to train you.
That was it. Like it was, I have no automotive papers whatsoever. It's just, I started, doing oil changes just as a snotty-nosed kid, and it just went on from there, that I was doing like full mechanic work like you do in these smaller provinces and smaller towns. It's you kind of just happen into the trade sometimes, but I knew to get registered I'd have to go to school, and I didn't want to spend the money in a trade that I just didn't love. It was fun, but it did get old for me really quick. So I decided, I had fixed my dad's plumbing a few times on a whim, and it was fun. And I thought, yeah, I'll try plumbing.
That's it. So you went from, how long did you do mechanic?
4 years.
4 years of mechanic, and then you just decide. So what was your plan after high school? Like, did you have any plan about what you were going to do? Anything post-secondary?
The only thing I thought of was funeral directing and embalming.
Why? Not to shit
no,
on.
No. It wasn't a stand. You grow up and you're like, There's doctors, there's nurses, there's lawyers, there's teachers. You don't, back then you didn't hear, I'm sure you weren't like, I'm going to be an artist for the rest of my life. You know, well, yeah, I mean,
I was pretty lucky, and I've learned through I did this.
You were lucky. There was nothing luck about what happened to you. You were very
well.
Yeah.
I'm more so like I've realized that I'm one of the rarer ones who my mother had come to me actually in like grade 10 or 11 and said, you know, look at graphic design. I think that would be a good career for you. Right. And I looked into it and I was like, yeah, I think you're right. Went and did that, and that was how it was.
Right. Yeah. And you know, you're thriving now, and after school I was like, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that. But you know, my parents were never the type to be like, well, you have to do something. You know, they were like, listen, just go to work, make some money, save it up, and when you find something that you are gonna love, go do that. Like, don't waste your money on just because you think you have to go to school. So I remember hearing that we had just opened up a funeral directing and embalming school in Grand Falls. That didn't last. I think that lasted maybe like 2 semesters. So thankfully I did not do that. Also, can you imagine if I was a funeral director and embalmer?
I think you'd have a bitchin' social media channel, maybe even more than you do now.
Like you get all these like old Newfoundlanders coming in, and like I'm like shaking their hand, like, hey, I'm the hooligan that's gonna proceed.
Oh, Mary, I'm gonna tart you right up tonight.
And they're like, no, but that's what I was gonna do. And the only thing that stopped me from doing that was I didn't want to live with my aunt and uncle in Grand Falls. That was it.
That's enough.
That was it. That deterred me. And then I was like, well, I guess I'll just apply this garage because I like tools. And yeah.
I find it fascinating how you would say like 20 years ago, women in the trades wasn't a thing, so you didn't even consider it. Like, isn't that crazy? Like,
to me right now, it blows my mind because, you know, people like take me to like speak at conventions, and I'm just like, I'm over it. Like, yeah, there's women in the trades. Why are we still talking about it? You know? Yeah. So to think that there was a time where I had never met a single female in the trades. I was the first female plumber in Newfoundland. You know? What? Yeah. Yeah.
What an honor.
Yeah.
Where's that plaque?
Yeah, there's no
English on it.
But it was yeah, like to think of a time, crazy. It's insane to think that there was a time like that.
The first female plumber in Newfoundland. How did you even find that out?
Literally the instructor was like, you know, when you get your red seal, you're going to be the first ever. And I was like, what? Never thought about it.
Like, it's cool. It's cool.
Yeah, no pressure, no pressure. Cool.
No pressure. Oh man, that is incredible. And what year was that?
Oh man, that was only 2015. I got that my ticket.
Oh man, well, like, God, you're just leveling up the more I talk to you, and I've known you for so long, and I had no idea about these.
No, I know. It's because usually we're just talking about getting beers and tattoos
and visits and stuff.
Yeah. And like, where can we get tacos?
Oh man, yes, dying for a good taco. So you decided to go into plumbing just because you had done some plumbing work for your dad. What did you just like YouTube what you had to do and go, yay?
There was like no like YouTube back then. It made sense to me mechanically. That's the only way my brain like actually fully functions is mechanically. So I would, you know, his toilet was doing this one thing. So I lifted the cover up and I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. I'll just switch this out. And I did, and it worked. And I was like, that was pretty fun. Yeah. So I just, you know, it was mechanical. So I wanted a mechanical trade, like, no shade, but I didn't want like electrical, or I really wanted.
That's a very different can of worms.
What? Yeah. 100%. It's a completely different trade. It's a cleaner trade. People will disagree with me on that one, but only electricians would. but but it's I really wanted something where I could branch out and like, you know, work with the nuts and bolts of machines and really take them down. You know, I'm not a residential plumber. I'm a mechanical industrial plumber, and so I can do residential. It's quick and nice money, but this cat is driving me.
I'm actually laughing in my head thinking about depending on when I play this episode versus the other ones, how much worse my Newfoundland accent is likely than any of the other episodes. They're gonna be like, "Did you go home to film this?" I'm gonna go because I can hear it myself.
Imagine if you had like 3 beers in your system right now. Like
I would
you just
be
be
able
like,
to. I'm not coherent after 3. I'm a one and done kind of
all
person.
right, one and done. So you have like a half a beer, and all of a sudden you'd be like, my darling.
It's true. I don't even need the beer. It's coming. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
So with that in mind about you being the first female plumber in Newfoundland, did you have any trouble like when you went to apply and go through like the actual schooling for the trade? Did you get resistance or try and be discouraged?
No, never. One thing that a lot of people don't know is Newfoundland has the highest success rate of female trades workers in all of Canada.
Wow.
Yeah, Newfoundland men tend to be the most accepting of trades women. You know, obviously there is some old school traditional values. There are some, you know, standard mounds you have to climb and minds you have to change. But, you know, that's nothing that I couldn't adapt to. Anyways, being an oddball, I was always, you know, adapting and learning how to chameleon myself to fit in with different crowds, different types of personalities. So I really fit into the trades community because we're just tradespeople are oddballs, right?
I had no idea. I am not one.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're
a different kind of oddball. The
you're with
artsy
one.
oddball. Yeah. I remember when I first started at NASCAD in Halifax, the Nova Scotia College of Art and Design, like my first week, I was like, it's like every artsy weirdo just congregated to this one place and we are just living our best life.
Yeah, you're all of a sudden you're surrounded by your people, right? So all of a sudden you know, I'm not going to say lucky, but I was fortunate in the fact that my instructor, he could see my talents, and my first plumbing boss was a mechanical company, and he contacted my instructor because he trusted him to produce like good students, and he said, I want your best student, and he sent him my name, and that interview I started the next day, and I have never been laid off, fired. I've never gone a week without a paycheck since.
And you work a lot above and beyond. Like I assumed I was not going to get you on a weekend to do this because I know, well, from my last experience of trying to trick you into being available on a weekend, that I had no hope of you not doing like 1,539 different jobs on a Sunday.
Yeah. I mean, I remember you, like Allison, just being so secretive, and she was like, well, I need you for this time. And I was like, that's not how my life works. Like, if somebody phones me and their sewer's backing up, I have to go. Right. And I just like remember like finally the plan had to unravel.
We're just like, oh my God, just tell her already.
Yeah.
I can't.
And I was like, okay, I won't do a job. Like, I won't take a job. Like, you know, but yeah, I am really busy. And for the most part, it's because, you know, I don't want to see people stuck. Right.
Yeah, you help people out of a lot of terrible situations. I know a lot of our friends have reached out to you with their hot water heaters are leaking or a pipe burst or all kinds of things. And you are like a superhero that sweeps in and fixes it and helps them out in a terrible situation.
The best thing about the trades is that when somebody is in a really vulnerable situation, like phoning somebody to take care of a situation that you know nothing about, and that you're afraid that maybe you're going to take advantage of, then you call somebody up and if you can rely on them and they're on their way, that pressure and the smile on their face when you get in, and you can see the load off their shoulders when you say, hey, listen, I'm going to take care of it. Don't worry. This is what we're going to do. That's the best part of the trade.
100%. You're so right. It's really the special kind of individuals for sure. It's got to be really gratifying when you know, like, you see the relief of even tears in their eyes when you can help somebody who
I've
feels
had so
desperate.
many hugs. I've been covered in quite literally just like fecal matter, and people have hugged me. And I'm just like, I'm covered in your waste. And they're like, don't care, get in here. Like, you just
I
gave
made
me
it fine.
And I'm like, all right, I love a hug, but it's yeah,
So,
it's the greatest. But I am incredibly busy.
yeah. Well, I mean, the best people are. If you got someone that's sitting around waiting for a call, I mean, chances are there's a reason for that. You're not just happen to catch them at a good time.
100%. Like I did take this weekend off. I ended up working yesterday, of course, but I took this weekend off because I'm doing a cabin next weekend for our friends. So
Oh, lovely.
yeah.
That's super nice. Well, since you brought up fecal matter, I would like to address how your getting into plumbing made its way online to the point of where when I would see a video with your name over it, I was like, scroll, 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 because I knew I was not going to want to see what you were sharing with us personally.
Yeah, I got on Instagram because I was going to Ireland for a trip and I wanted to share photos of my trip to Ireland. And at this stage, my name was the Littlest Plumber. I obviously ripped that off of the Littlest Hobo, that the Canadian classic.
I reference it all the time.
Yeah, and I never thought it would just blow up to being just a plumbing page, but naturally, I had the most fun at work. So I would post just random things of my, of work. And at that stage, there weren't any female plumbers really, especially worldwide. So to be online, I guess that kind of attracted, back then it was like Instagram Explore, and so people would find me through Instagram Explorer and they'd be like, whoa, you're a girl. And some people would figure out like a week later that I was a girl, but it kind of blew up from there. And then of course stories came out on Instagram, and that once I was allowed to just kind of freelance, just spit off the top, and
Today's job.
yeah, and yes, instead of just like making this like take a picture, write a sentence, like not my favorite style of media. Then I could just point and click, and if I had a thought, I could say it, and if I was doing a job, I could do it, and it blew up from there. Just
Yeah,
crazy.
blow up is the exact right term. So I on occasion teach and coach social media for businesses, and I have mentioned to you that I've used your account more than one time as a reference for people about the power of good social media, because I remember when I was watching your account evolve from just your stories, and I mean, you're a very energetic, personable person. Like, people love to hear what you're doing, even if you're draining toilets or unclogging drains or crawling into some weird apparatus. Like, you're a natural born storyteller, and people gravitate to your personality. So it's perfect for social media. But you have a very, what was, I mean, I'm going to say still is, but a very unsexy trade. Like, your daily job is like literally in the thick of it.
In the bowels.
In the bowels. That was a way better phrase. Damn it. Your job is in the bowels of it.
Rewind and just edit that later.
And here is social media like blowing up, and then tool companies are taking notice of all of these other tradespeople are like creating this online community, and now they're doing campaigns driven towards it. And it's like, what is happening?
It's
in the best way.
It's in no way had I ever thought that I would go from, taking photos of, a toilet I just fixed, or taking a video of a shower I unclogged, And also, by the way, the grosser it is, the more views and likes I get, which people are gross.
Not from me.
You're all sickos. But in no way did I think that simple, task of just sharing my day would turn into being brand ambassadors, being an influencer, being contacted by some of the best tool companies in the world, and having, them, say, hey, listen, this is a tool that we want to test out, but we want your opinion. Like one of the greatest tool companies, actually, I would say 5 of the greatest tool companies in the world contact me and they want to know my opinion. Like me. Like this skinny little white kid from St. John's, Newfoundland. You want to know what I think? That's
You're
insane.
gonna send me what?
That's what I mean. Is like that. At first it was this massive imposter syndrome because, I didn't think that I deserved it, right? And I definitely struggle with that. And I talked to a good few pals online and stuff, and it was like, listen, you know what you're doing, you know what you're at. Like they want your expertise and they also want your personality behind it, because you're not just this, you're not what they're used to seeing online with infomercials and stuff like that, and I guess they saw something in me that I never. And I'm slowly accepting the fact that these companies like appreciate my view on tools, my take on it, and what I can provide them.
Yeah, no kidding. And because I really hate the term influencer, but it is what it is because it's exactly what you're doing. But it's one thing to have a tool knowledge, but when you can share it with people and influence their decision to buy, I mean, that's a hugely powerful, monetizable skill to have. It was Rigid Tools, I think, who did the big conference, right?
Yeah, it was Rigid Industrial. So the not the rigid power tools, but the plumbing rigid.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was one of the coolest things I've ever seen. And I have nothing to do with the trades or interest investment at it all. But from a marketing perspective, my friggin' mind was on fire watching. It was like, oh, they're doing it all so right. Like it was like unreal. Tell me about that experience. Like for anyone who doesn't know, what was it? What did you do? And I'll just go right back to the beginning.
Yeah. So it was actually called the Rigid Experience. I was selected for it. It is.
How many people did they select? Do you know?
Oh, I'm gonna get this wrong, but I'm just gonna say 8 to 10 of us, and that's North American wide. And
Ooh.
I was the first Canadian to be ever. So yeah, I know it was pretty phenomenal. And they asked me to come, and I was like, no, I'm busy. But yeah, you know what, I was terrified because I thought like they're gonna find out what a flight to Newfoundland is, and they're just gonna be like, absolutely not, you are not worth this.
Oh my God.
But they didn't. There was no expenses spared. This was the best I've ever been treated in my life, and like I say that like looking around, so my mom isn't around.
I was like, Allison's like,
Allison was like, that's the best you've ever been treated.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was insane. It was like for those 3 days, it's a 3-day experience. They fly me up to Ohio where the Rigid headquarters is, where they make the tools, the new innovations start, test the tools. And they fly you up for 3 days. And for 3 days, I was like, is this what it feels like to be a celebrity? Because you show up, there's a driver there with your name on it. You walk down, he opens the door for you. I'm just like, I'm uncomfortable right away because I'm just like, first of all, I don't think I deserve any of this. Second of all, like I don't like anybody doing anything for me. So like I'm like, no, I got my door. No, I got my bags. Like, and they're like, no, like we want you to have this experience. So anyways, you get to the hotel and you open the door and there's just swag. Just all like tool swag, and I was like, my mind was blown. Then like right away it starts, right? So all these other, and I do hate the term influencer as well.
I know it's so accurate. I get it.
It's accurate. It's cheesy, right? but yeah, there were the other plumbing influencers there, and we all just like, we'd known each other through Instagram, and it was just insane to just see each other. And of course, my first thing was I went and got beer at the grocery store and like brought it all up and had it all ready. So everybody came into my room. And that was kind of like where we just like, we partied first. And then this bus picked us up, took us to the Rigid headquarters. When we got out, like the entire Rigid factory team, everybody was just there like, woo! And I was like, please stop. Please, we don't deserve this. And they took us on a full tour of the like tools that I've, gone up through the trades using, and just got to see how they made that. Took us fishing on Lake Erie, took us to a Cleveland Indians game. At one point, they did a photo shoot with us. And I was like, they were like, how's everything going? And I was like, I would love 13 Red Bulls and cold beer right now. But like, just joking, right? And they came over with a golf cart, picked us up, brought us into a bus, and it was filled with Red Bull and beer. And I was like,
I'd really love $1 million right
I
now.
would love for you to pay off my student loans.
I've been looking at this house in Newfoundland. Like, if you could if you could buy that, that'd be great.
Yeah, but it was like whatever you said, they would just do, right? It was insane. It was insane. And not only that, but like they were genuinely, they sat us down in this conference, and we signed the don't tell anybody what you saw here, or whatever that's called.
Non-disclosure.
Right. We signed that, and they showed us tools that still haven't come out yet, that were still in production. They were like, they want to know exactly what the pros need, want, hate, everything. And they just broke it down for us, and like just really made us a part of it. It was insane. And then like that, it was over.
That is insane. See, every time you tell me something, you're like, I'm up here with like, yeah, this was really cool. The 1/3 of what I saw, and then you like smashing through the ceiling of what I thought was already incredible. Man, I've never been flown anywhere, and I've been pretty lucky so far with the things that I've received, I feel.
No, it's insane. And that's like that. Like I have another one coming up when the pandemic is over. That is supposedly tops this one, and that I've been invited to. And it's just like, again, I'll always struggle, I think, with knowing that like I belong there. But hey, man, if this world's gonna give you something, like, take it, right?
I feel that completely. And the imposter syndrome is something I struggle with on the daily. Like, even this project, I've been trying to force myself to do this project for the better part of a year. And I'm just terrified to do it. For one, to take on another thing, but two, it's like, who cares what I have to say, or the people that I'm talking to, or like, am I oversaturating the market with me if my face or my voice or opinions are in so many places already? Like,
never oversaturating. Like, you have a GIF, and I like, when it popped up on the Instagram, I was like, she's got a GIF?
I can't get it to show up on Giphy though. I've got to keep trying. It's driving me nuts.
But yeah, I mean, I get it. Like, it's you talk yourself out of stuff, right?
I don't deserve this. Who am I? They're going to regret asking me, or realize I don't know what they think I know. And yeah,
you're speaking my truth right now. Like, in one go, they'll send me like $8,000 worth of tools. And I'm just like,
what's happening?
What is this? Like, and then I'm like, I'm not going to do them justice. They're going to hate the way, because they give it to you and they're like, do your magic. They don't give you like anything, right?
So they give you like, we need you to post a minimum of 4 posts using this stuff. We need you to do reviews.
Some do, right? So like, it depends on the company, but like, they will say like, hey, we want you to do like 2 posts on this, 7 stories on it, whatever. But we want you to do it your way. Right. And which is great, because that's what they want. Like, they don't want us, these cookie cutter molds of each other. So I understand that. But then there's also like, I have $3,000 tool in my hand right now, and I have to make it worth, like, you have to watch that and go, okay, that was worth $3,000. You know what I mean? Like, my Instagram story has to be worth, whatever that tool was that they sent to me. That's
Yeah,
how
no,
I see that, and it's just like, no pressure. No pressure.
it's so true. It's like one post you need me to equate to a $3,000 sale. You have grossly underestimated my ability, sir.
I'm saying, like, I just feel like maybe you've seen something I haven't, or like, is there like another Justin Bieber like plumber kicking around here that you've
I don't know,
watched?
man. Since he's gone bleach blonde, you're not the dead ringer anymore.
It's true. Like, and I can't grow a dirt stash. I know.
Good.
It's done. I don't even know who I look like anymore. But yeah, it's been a learning curve, and it's only now that I'm starting to actually enjoy it.
And how
I
long
hated it.
is it? A year and a bit? 2 years? Would you say?
Oh, that I've like officially started, or that like I kind of started to taper into the.
I would say since companies started to reach out to you, ballpark.
Okay, so about 3 years.
3 years.
Yeah.
So you're not at this point getting paid to make content in any way other than you are getting paid to make content? Oh, buddy, living the dream.
Not every company, but there are companies that will send me a check and send me a pile of tools and say, "Here you go, do you, boo?"
That's incredible.
Yeah, I know.
I'm so happy for you. It's not even funny. And I know you feel like it's, who am I to do these and stuff, but you are one of the hardest working people I have ever met. So I'm so happy to see this happening for you.
Thank you.
Oh, it's so
Ditto,
incredible.
by the way. I think that's why we always got along, honestly, because we were two oddballs in high school who barely showed up, and then somehow we like connected down the road, right?
And that's true. That is true.
Yeah, because we didn't hang out in high school because I was 2 years younger than you.
Yeah, I also didn't hang out with a lot of people in high school. I was just like, put
No.
my head down and get the hell out.
We sat in the same corner of a hallway. That was our connection. Like, it was lunchtime, we would sit on our book bags in the same corner. And I started getting tattooed. That's what it was. I started getting tattooed, and then we just connected.
Was it not till then? I suppose I lived away for a long time. So yeah, I guess it would have been.
Yeah, because you went to Halifax. So when you came back, that's when I
That's right.
snuck into your life. It all came to blend.
Made it so much better. And now you are inextricably woven into my life as your social media success ended up being my love fairy tale.
Yeah, I'm eHarmony.
Yeah. Better results, I'd argue.
I mean, I got this message from an equal tool addict, a few years ago, a while ago actually, and myself and Tyson just we hit it off right away. We're very similar in a lot of ways, so we instantly became like really close. And then he was going through something in life, and you were going through something in life, and I thought, you know what? Let's just mash these wrecks together.
You're very right. It worked out.
I mean, I sent him a picture. I sent him one of your posts. That's how it started. And I said, "Isn't my friend cute?"
How cute is my pal?
How cute is my pal?
Exact quote.
Yeah, and he said, I think he said something along the lines of, I don't know if he called you a dime.
And I was like, "Oh, great!" And then I thought, "Wait, what's a dime? Is that good?"
Yeah, I think that's what it was, because you asked me like, "What's a dime?" Yeah. And then I went to your house. You visited not long after, and you were at your parents. And I came over, and you were just having a conversation. And then you whipped over like you do, like that dramatic, like, And you were like, "So what's going on with this guy? Like, what's up with this Tyson guy?" And I was just like, "He's really nice. He's a trades worker. He works hard, and he's really good with money, and he's just nice." And
like, check, I'm in.
Yeah, and you were just like, all right. We'll see. And then it was over.
And then it was over. And now we're just coming off a cross-country move of shipping him from West Coast to the East Coast.
Yeah.
Love match.
You're welcome.
And literally all because of your social media success. Like, how funny is that?
It's pretty crazy, but it's not the first couple that I've hooked up that has
Fair.
been incredibly successful. You guys just happen to be one of my top. My sister is the top.
Fair.
Right?
Fair.
Yeah.
That worked really good for you.
I'm Cupid, right? Like,
yeah. We definitely, that's our next tattoo for sure. We're just going to put a heart and an arrow on your ass cheek.
On my other ass cheek.
Other ass cheek.
I would do that.
I'm into it.
All right, let's do it.
Let's do it.
That's the date.
Well, I'm glad we've talked about the positivity of social media, but I do want to touch on the negative side of it, because I know you've had stories from there as well, as have I. Anytime anybody puts themselves out there in any way, there's going to be people that want to take you down. So I would love to speak to you about your experience with, I don't want to say trolls or the haters, but
no, that's right.
With the negativity, negative side of being successful on social media.
Yeah.
What experience have you had with that?
Yeah, I've had extensive experience. I came, into the trades in Newfoundland, and I was under this beautiful bubble of protective Newfoundland men who just looked at me and thought I was amazing. And then I branched myself out to the world, and the world is not as accepting to people like me for different reasons. Female in the trades, homosexual, like it's a different world out there. And I learned very fast. And I had to get a different kind of skin. I had thick skin working in the trades. Then I had to get this thick skin working in or being on social media. And people are really rough on social media, rougher than they would be to your face, right? Yeah. And they're no holds barred, right? So I had to, and I still am learning to separate myself from those and really try not to take those words personal, because they don't know me personally. And I think that myself and you, we have very similar media styles in that we put ourselves out there, and we put our families out there, and we put our lives out there, and people see that, and because of that, they think they know us, and they think they can judge us or have input on our lives or have the right to express, what they feel. And that's not necessarily the case. Like, I don't do that to people. But I understand that that's just going to happen. And I also, am at a stage where I'm really, really, just really focusing on the thousands of good comments and messages that I get every day, and the one or two that slips in on a day or a week. It's like, if I don't, I had a good friend tell me, like, the people that write you, do you ever want to be in their shoes? If you never want to be in their shoes or learn from them, then their opinions don't matter. Like, if you don't respect them, their opinions don't matter. And I was like, yeah, you're right. Cause like the only way, what I would do is I would picture those words coming from one of my friends, of somebody that I thought higher up of, like Tyson, if Tyson ever wrote one of those comments. And then I would be like, wow, that would hurt me, but I don't know this person, so it doesn't hurt me. But yeah, it happens. And I've had, bigger accounts, come after me, for a lot of, my tools got stolen 3 years ago, and I had a bigger account, bigger trades account guy basically say that I pretended to have my tools stolen. I lied about it. And that was really hard for me, because this guy had, like, at the time, 50,000 followers. And so I just had this influx of people coming in and just questioning my integrity. And that was really hard for me, because
I was going to say, I already know how horrible that would be for you.
That was probably the hardest time I ever had. I really struggled with, going on to social media then, because I was just like, man, the only thing I have in this world I worked for. I loved those tools. They were stolen. So I was already at a really bad low. And then to have somebody question my integrity on top of it, I was so low. And it took me it took me years. It took me like 2 years to really get over that.
And no one should ever have that power over you, especially a faceless person that doesn't even know you on a personal level. It's like, why are you following me then?
Yeah, and I get it all the time, you know, like I'll have people come in and be like, "Oh, you're just an influencer, you're just a tool reviewer, you don't know." And I'm like, "Man, I got 16 years under my belt." But usually if you respond to them, and you know this, usually if you respond to them in a way that's just like, "Hey, listen, if you want to have a talk about this, like let's do it." Like, you know, I'll give them a little bit about myself and I'll say, "If you want to hang out and actually see my stories and see my posts, you'll see that what you're saying is not true. And I'd love to actually get to a point where me and you could just be buddies maybe someday." And for the most part, that either shuts them up, or we become cordial, right? So it took me a while to get to that point where I could separate my emotions and actually reply back like that.
Oh, 100%. I'm just going through my 4th year of doing like public social media now. And it was only, what month is it? April? Like maybe February, I think, where I got a negative comment. And normally that probably would have made me cry and withdraw a little bit. But I just sat back and looked at that account. And for me, I don't know if it's similar for you, but for me, 99% of the time, it's a fake account. It's
Or
not even
private.
somebody's. Of course, it's not even. It's yeah, they're straight up fake accounts, no pictures, no nothing. And I really was like, if your life is so sad that you have to say that, or that your only intent in that, because I'm really big at looking at the intent of something before I react, is like, I'm not taking that on.
Yeah, well, like hurt people,
Yeah.
right? Like you're trying to hurt me because you're hurting. And it's like,
You're just, you don't like what's going on with you, and you don't like what I've got going on with me, and you're just,
yeah,
I just blows my mind when, like, I really want to develop content about people examining intent in other people before they react, or the power, like, what is the purpose of your comment before you leave this? Is it just to leave negativity? Do you just feel an emotion that you want to get out, or you want to incite like what is your intent before you leave that comment? What are you hoping to achieve? Are you educating someone, or are you just being shitty?
yeah, yeah. And I don't know if I think that is something that has been like, I've been able to reach people with that kind of discord where I'm like, what'd you get there? Like, what'd you get out of that? You know, or are you just having a really bad day? Because if you're having a bad day, I'd love to talk to you about it, or I'll listen, you know. um, I don't believe that the masses are going to take that on, but if like one person just sits back and examines, you know, their presence on social media, and if it's what they're doing there, if somebody sits back and go, yeah, I don't really need to get on like a complete asshole, you know, then that needs to be done. And like, what I love about your social media is that you're very much, you put yourself out there in a way that's like, hey, look at this. The world's not perfect. The media is not perfect, because media is this like this fake world of perfection and photoshopping. And you're like, check, I overate on my road trip. But you know what I mean? And it's like, because you know, and I've been there, if you make one mistake on your social media, you're getting eaten alive in the comment section. You're getting
You
I
remember Halloween?
remember. I remember. I remember. And it's vicious and it's not fair, and it's not a discord. There's no progression being made there. And it's hard. Like I personally wanted to go and kind of take on the same characteristics of the people who would comment on your posts, and I would want to sink to that level and fire back, because I love you and I wanted to protect you. But I also knew that wasn't going to help, so I would combat with positivity, you know what I mean? And I just think that the more people are real, and the more I show, hey, listen, I just installed this and it's leaking, you know, instead of like, look at my perfect install, right? Like, look at this perfect system that I built up and there's no issues whatsoever and I'm amazing. that's bullshit, right? And the more that you talk about, what your followers need to see, the more I have to do that too, right? Like the people need to make social media a bit more real, and then I think people will just like chill out and be like, oh, you're not perfect. Like,
Yeah, it is definitely a glossy highlight reel, which we understand. I think I can't remember who I was having a conversation with, but it was like, even within keeping it realistic and showing we had a bad day, like today I was crying on the floor, or today I can't fit in my clothes, or things like that. There's only so much of that reality people want to see too, because they're on social media to distract themselves, pass the time, certainly not to make themselves sad or upset about anything. So
yeah. I mean, it's the way there's a fine tuned way on how to deliver everything in this world, right? So it's the social media world is just like, you need to have this like almost like baited, and not to sound manipulative in that way, like you're manipulating people, but you don't want to just be like, hey, today I cried into a full pizza, sat on the couch, and like, yeah, and like, I had to get 13 pep talks from my partner about how amazing I am just to get a shower, right? You don't write that, so there's a finesse that you have to like be like, hey, and make a joke out of it, be like, today sucked, right? But your last 5 posts were, about your work or about, your travel and how fun that was. But then you come back to reality, and I think that that's what it is. People are watching you and being like, oh man, our life is so perfect. And then you bring them back, and then they're going, oh, okay, well, I don't know, this is good. This is good, right? Because people are following you for a reason, and it's because you show who you are and your struggles and your life and stuff. And I think that like I don't do that to a certain extent, like to your extent.
it's just we do different
And
things.
that's exactly what it is, right? Like it's my followers are still, I hate saying that too, actually.
Your community.
Yeah, my community. I like that way better. Thanks. Yeah, they, when I post sometimes about, mental health stuff, they're there, right? They're there. But I'm not doing it every day too, right? Because I know that stuff gets heavy, right?
Yeah.
But as
Well,
long as,
exactly.
yeah. But as
Yeah,
long as people know that, like, hey, listen, I'm a human, then they're gonna slide into my DMs and they're gonna be like, hey, I'm having a bad day. And I love that.
oh, people's messages, like, I don't care if I reach 5 people, like, I know everybody wants the 10,000, 20, 100,000 followers, and yeah, that'd be great, I'm not gonna lie. But the people who reach out to me to say, like, I remember when I can't remember, it was one of the pants posts where, like, they're cloth pants, so they don't hold you in at all, so I have these, like,
Yeah.
saddlebag thighs, and I'm like, "No, I'm wearing these pants anyway."
Yeah.
And so 2 people sent me photos of jeans or whatever pants that they put on that was like, "You gave me the confidence to wear these today." And it's just like, like my heart.
That's the best, there's nothing greater. If somebody like Allison knows, she's super patient with me having to leave a room because somebody's written me and said, you know what, I'm having a really, really bad day. I'm having a bad mental health day. And if I open that message, I will stop what I'm doing to respond back. Because as you know, on my social media, it's not just tools. I do talk about, suicide in the trades and with tradespeople, and because it's affected me personally. And the response I get every time is huge, And then that after effect of people just being like, hey, I remember you posted something up a year ago. Like, is it still cool if I talk to you? And it's just like, man, that's like you take all the trolls in the world. Like, that stuff right there is just like, that's what it's about. Like
That's what makes it all worth
the
it.
companies can go away. This whole Instagram thing could stop tomorrow. And I've made some amazing connections to a lot of people, and they've helped me.
100%. Oh, God, that's so powerful. Well, I know we're coming up on an hour there, and I don't want to take up too much of your time since, I know you had to fit this in around another podcast and then another emergency job that you had, so you could get called out at any minute.
Sure. I've got
I
my phone on silent, so I'm not getting any calls.
I appreciate that. I'd say that it's not going off a million times. I want to do a few rapid fire questions with you.
Sure.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Are you nervous?
I'm like, I peed a little, so.
Now
I'm just uncomfortable and wet.
That's good. Okay. Who inspires you?
Oh man. Oh God. That's a hard one. Inspires me. That's I have so many to pick from. It just like my ADHD is winning.
It could be like personally, it could be the tool world, could be mentor.
Okay, so personally, Allison, my partner, she is insane in the best ways. She literally when this pandemic started, she's a mental health and addictions nurse, and she gives every part of herself to this community. Like, it's insane. She loses sleep, and as soon as this pandemic hit, she switched right over to, okay, well, now I'm a COVID nurse because that's what my community needs right now. And, and just to see that, and she's always just trying to develop herself and push herself to learn more and be more, and strictly just for her community. It's strictly just how can she help her community. That's it. It's amazing. And the whole time she's pushing me and helping me grow,
I'm gonna have to clip that and send it to her.
Yeah, she's probably like listening right now, being like, all right, I'm gonna make you something good for dinner.
But that's why you're so well suited, because you're very, very like in that regard.
Yeah.
I'll dial it back for you a little bit. What's your favorite snack?
Favorite snack? Oh man, chocolate. Like, does that count? Any chocolate, like dark chocolate,
green tea.
Oh, like, F me up with that. I just want all the chocolate.
I feel you, brother. Yeah. What's the most important mistake you would say you've learned in your trade?
My most important mistake would be trying to not ask questions, because thinking that if you ask a question, you look stupid. I remember going into the trade and thinking like, I have to know everything because I have to be the best. If they're going to keep me, I have to be the best. But I wasn't going to learn if I pretended that I knew it all. So I remember having a phenomenal journeyman, and he allowed me to ask questions, and he was like, I want you to ask questions. And that's when I learned that, like, there's quite literally nothing wrong with asking a question. Yeah, you don't know it all. You're never going to know it all. But just sometimes you just got to be like, hey, I don't know this. Somebody does. So yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Sound advice. I love it. I'm trying to think how to phrase this one because it's a little different in your job. If you could, if you could, like, say I was talking to Dane Woodland at one point. I said, if you could train any clients, like if you could have a dream job in this trade or a dream collaboration with someone within your trade, who would it be?
Mechanical Hub, Eric from Mechanical Hub.
Yeah. You didn't even hesitate.
I've been saying this for years. He's Eric Ani. He lives in Minnesota, and he was the first influencer, big time. I mean, this guy has over 100,000 followers, and this guy, I remember I had like 700 followers, and he wrote me and he said, "You're gonna be big." And he just like, he's always been there to answer any of my mechanical questions, any of my influencer, any of my social media questions. I got invited to this big, renowned, only so many people in the world get invited to this thing. And I wrote him, he's the first person I wrote. And I said, Eric, I got invited to this thing. And he was like, I'm going to make sure that you're in my group. He's like, I can't wait to hug you. you know? And yeah, and it was just like, of course it got canceled because of pandemic, because I can't have anything nice. But I would
That's
love to. We've talked about it all the time that I would come over and we would just shoot together and we would have a blast together because we have the same sense of humor as well. So yeah, easily Mechanical Hub.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
What career advice would you give? Now, this could be layered because, as you said, you were the first female plumber in Newfoundland, which is just mind blowing to me. What advice would you give? I'm going to go with women who may be hesitant to get in the trades.
Yeah. First of all, figure out which trade you want to get into. Figure out, like, is your body going to be right for it? A lot of people don't want to talk about that, but I've met people smaller than me who wanted to be a masonry, and they're not going to do it. You're not going to do it. You know, it's just one of those things where the technology will not. The technology in certain trades are just not there for smaller people, and you have to really do your research to make sure that and it is a delicate topic to bring that up, but you really do. People used to say, like, oh, are you going to be tough enough? You're going to be mentally tough. Women are the most mentally tough people in the world. I never say that. I never look at somebody and go, are you going to be mentally tough enough? It's insane. Women are built to be the toughest, mammals on the face of the earth. Like, we're insane, the stuff that we deal with and put through. And so that doesn't even cross my mind. But do your research, make sure that it's going to suit your body. You're going to be able to retire and play with your kids still. And also wear your PPE. Wear your PPE. Honestly, I'm so deaf because I thought I was cool not wearing my PPE, but
you're not even talking pandemic. You're talking about like trade specific stuff.
Trade specific. Like, if you're going to get into the trades, don't be an idiot like I was back in the day, not wearing gloves, not wearing. I'm so fortunate that I never had anything serious happen to me. But now I wear my PPE, and I tell everybody, because people always ask me, what would you tell a young girl getting into the trades right now? Wear your friggin' PPE. It has nothing to do with your genitals. Wear your PPE. This is insane. But if we're talking specifically like female, I think the only thing that really affects us is our bodies, because we're tough enough for anything else.
Yep. It's not hard to see why people keep booking you to do talks and to do conferences and to speak on the trade. Like, you're just an incredible ambassador for your gender, for your trade, for humanity. Like, God, if aliens come down, I'm going to nominate you.
Well, I'm glad I got you fooled too. That's great.
Oh, stop it. All right. And the last question, I'll leave you alone. What is success to you?
Oh, success to me is coming home every day safe, unhurt. Being able to pay my bills. I came from housing. We grew up with nothing, and to be able to, I bought a house that blew my mind. I never thought I'd do that. I'm already successful. You're gonna make me cry, but I'm already so successful. I get to come home to the love of my life. I got it made in the shade.
My heart, Danielle. Oh my God. We're gonna win like some kind of this
podcast of the universe.
You know what's funny? I'm so pale and have such a lack of color. It looks like my screen is in like 1950s black and white, and then
I've been tanning in sunny Newfoundland. I've got like 3 freckles now, so.
Oh my God. Well, hopefully you're going to get to equally gloomy Nova Scotia soon if this pandemic settles down and we get that bubble back, because I miss you. I used to see you at least once or twice a year, and now I did get to see you in November before the bubble burst. Thank God.
But normally I get to travel to you at least once a year, right?
That's true.
At least once. At least I get to surprise you every now and then. I know, but it's been. I love churro. I love churro. The churro jobs keep popping up on my email.
We're going to win Allison over. So help me. Like, she's only going to be able to be stuck there for so much longer before she's ready to get it.
Well, listen, we just got to get over there, and we got to have like a really good visit. It's got to have like beautiful sunshine. Do you know what I mean?
That's true. I mean, I'll work on it. I'll put my order in and see what happens.
The stars got to align, and maybe we'll get it one day. But yeah, no, I can't wait to see you again.
Thank you so much for making the time to do this in your very busy, influential schedule. I greatly appreciate it.
Thank you.
And man, keep rocking with absolutely everything you're doing. You are truly a superstar in every regard. And I can't wait to follow along with where you go from here, because I know it's just up. I'm going to ride those coattails. I'm her tattooer. Hi, me. Yes. Put me in the rider, please. I'll be there. Thank you.
The name's on the list.
Awesome.
Same for you.
Thank you so much. And you have a wonderful day.
Thank you very much. This is awesome. It's so good seeing your sweet angel face.
Maybe we'll have a double wedding.
Go on.
Can you imagine? Imagine?
Yes, I can.
Yes, I can. It's the universe would implode. It can't handle it. All right. Thank you so much. Oh, and where can people find you online?
You can find me on Instagram on The Littlest Plumber, or TikTok at The Littlest Plumber.
Oh, I don't have you on TikTok. I have to go look on that.
I am more ridiculous on TikTok.
Hard to believe. Now I really got to go look.
There are a few attempted dances.
Ooh. Going right over there. Stay tuned. Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe and tell a friend. Tune in next week when we're chatting with world record performer Ian Stewart.